But once capitalism established it, reproduced itself of itself, economic forces prevailed. Yeah. Very good. All right. Any other questions? Yes, Juliana.
So just to clarify the comparison, where they are both divergent in the German ideology where Marx says that ideas are echoes, and that's more than the theory themselves?
Yes, in as much as the German ideology is arguing that ideas and consciousness is the result of economic activity, he's not giving precedence to the central role of ideas that Weber seems to in talking about the origins of capitalism. That is true. That is true. That is true. That is true. But I want to insist really what is important about Marx is not the origins of capitalism, but the future of capitalism. So they're really talking about different problems. Yes. And even in the German ideology, do you remember that famous passage in the German ideology where Marx really recognizes the importance of ideas? 3 B's for anybody who can do this. No? Matthew?
It's when he talks about the ideas of a certain class, or the ruling ideas, he wants to hear on that.
Very good. Yes, at one point he talks about the ruling ideas in any society are the ideas of the ruling class. That's at one page he talks about that. And the ideas of the dominant class percolate down. It was like Gramsci's idea of hegemony, yeah. Yes. So he does, even Marx talks sometimes about the importance of ideas. Yes. Okay. But he doesn't really talk much about religion, actually, Marx. Yes. Do you know what Marx said about religion? He said yes, Lars. Opium of the masses. And what does that mean? Yes. Drugs then. Yeah. Drug. Opium is a drug, right? You take opium? No? Really? Oh, come on. Such a big bunger as you doesn't take opium. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. Yes. The opium of the masses. In a sense, it's so this is not about this. As you will see, the Protestant ethic is not an opium. It's not a drug. It's something that really so intensively activates people. Yes. Ian.
I'm sorry. Can you think about science as a feature of modern Western being more Western capitalism?
Sorry, what's your question? I can get.
What you said about
Science is important. Science is important for capitalism, modern Western world, because science becomes the foundations for the invention of new technologies, for new means of power. You wouldn't have your computers if it were not for science, but these computers are the engine of modern capitalism. Science is responsible for accelerating the development of the what? Forces of production, yes. So that's what science is important for. Developing new technologies. Yes, Neil?
So you're saying there's something unique about Western Protestants that
yes, and that's the essence of the book. When you read it, you'll see. Yes. That's what we're going to talk about. Okay. There is something about this Protestant ethic. So really we've got to figure out where this Protestant ethic comes from first. So alright, so now we have to go move in a different direction. Well, first we've got to do 2 things. We've got to say what is the spirit of capitalism. We're going to talk more about it. And then we've got to figure out how it's related to the Protestant ethic. These are our 2 tasks. 1, 2. So, alright, what is the spirit of capitalism? What is the spirit of capitalism? Yes. Right. Well, perhaps I should just read to you from... Yes. Well, has anybody got a nice page where he talks about the spirit of capitalism? Yes. Anybody know what this... All right, why don't we start on page 53? 53. Where he talks about this capitalism as being irrational. On a new paragraph. Why don't you read it? Jason number 2, where are you? He's not here? What happened to him? You had to pick somebody up from the airport. Okay, well, Jason number 1 must substitute.
In fact, some of this ethic...
The height of this ethic.
The turning of more and more money to money, the strict avoidance of all spontaneous enjoyment of life.
Oh, listen to that. More and more money combined with the strict avoidance of all spontaneous enjoyment of life. Aha.
It's above all completely devoid of any eudaimonistic.
Very good. Any pursuit of happiness.
And hedonistic admixture. It is thoughtless of so purely as to an end of itself that from the point of view of the happiness of or utility to a single individual, it appears entirely transcendental and absolutely irrational.
Yeah, this pursuit of money for its own sake appears to be so completely irrational. Nobody's seen anything like it before. It's irrational, pursuing money for its own sake. Money, after all, is to be used for consumption. Aha. Yes, and who represents this spirit of capitalism in this book? Who represents the spirit of capitalism in this book, class? An American by the name of? Benjamin Franklin, who was a quite extraordinary chap. Some of you may... Did anybody know about Benjamin Franklin? Conrad, do you know about Benjamin Franklin? Do you know who he was?
Well, according to what we've been taught, he's one of the founding fathers and everything like that.
Yeah.
Others would argue that he was a quote-unquote gangster.
Gangster? Whoa. That's strong stuff.
Well, I mean, depending upon whose perspective you look at.
Why do you call him a gangster?
Well, it also depends on your definition of gangster, too. Gangster-type activity, doing certain things to individuals who are vulnerable, taking advantage of people. He has hands in that, too. You look at the way in which he died with Aaron Burr and how it all went down, a shootout. I mean, gangster activity.
That's a new vision of...
Depending upon how you look at it.
Yeah, oh, very good. Right, what is gangster? Any other associations with very good, very good. Any other associations with Franklin? Any other association with Ben Franklin? Yes, Charita? Bifocals. Yes, he was a scientist. Did he invent bifocals? Really? That's pretty impressive. Okay, well anyway, he was a great inventor, scientist. Invented bifocals. In those days they had bifocals. Interesting. Okay, very good. I see. Gangster who invents bifocals. Very special. Yes, Aaron, what else do we know about Benjamin Franklin?
He was a French ambassador.
Yes, indeed. He was an ambassador in France. Statesman. He had provocative. He was a gangster with provocative liaisons. Where did he talk about? Do you know? Hey, do you know where he talked about his not his liaisons? But where did he talk about his vision of life and how people should lead their lives? Yes. Well, it was not. It was an almanac, right? Wasn't it called? It was an almanac of Poor Richard, right? Yes. So he wrote this for many years. He wrote almost like a diary. He was what? He was the first blogger. He wrote this amazing almanac, yes. So he had all sorts of, in reality, not only was he a blogger, he was a gangster, he was a scientist and an inventor, and he had awkward liaisons, he was a statesman, he was also a printer, a philosopher, a musician, and apparently an economist. He was, basically he was, what would Marx think of this guy? He was living in the realm of freedom. He created it all around him. He had rich and varied talents of which he developed them all. But what is so interesting is that he has been seen to be, by Weber, who probably didn't know a huge amount about his life, he was seen to be by Weber as the prototype of the carrier of the spirit of capitalism. So let us, despite his gangsterist traits, why don't we look at page 51. 51. Is it 51? Hold on. Oh, it's all over the place here, isn't it? Yes, 48 probably is where we should begin. Yes, right, listen to this. This is Benjamin Franklin, page 48. These are the sort of mottos that he supposedly advocated that everybody else should follow. Remember that time is money. Time is money. Okay, remember that credit is money. Don't misuse credit like you shouldn't misuse time. Every moment of your life should be spent productively. Right, Neil? Absolutely. Remember that credit is money. Remember that money is of the prolific generating nature. Money, if you work with it carefully, begets more money. Remember this saying, the good paymaster is lord of another man's purse. And dropping down a few lines. After industry and frugality, nothing contributes more to the raising of a young man in the world than punctuality and justice in all his dealings. Therefore never keep borrowed money an hour beyond the time you promised, lest a disappointment shut up your friend's purse forever. Yes, AIG executives could read this. Page 50. Top of the page, new paragraph. Beware of thinking all your own that you possess. Beware of thinking all your own that you possess and of living accordingly. It is a mistake that many people who have credit fall into. To prevent this, keep an exact account for some time, both of your expenses and your income. If you take the pains at first to mention particulars, it will have this good effect. You will discover how wonderfully small, trifling expenses mount up to large sums and will discern what might have been and may for the future be saved without occasioning any great inconvenience. Calculation for the purposes of saving. And then he says in the next paragraph, for £6 a year you may have the use of £100, provided you are a man of known prudence and honesty. Prudence and honesty, isn't that funny? I mean, for £6 a year you may have the use of £100. I mean, tell that to the AIG executives. I mean, they are really not following honesty and prudence. They make money other ways. Okay, right. If you look on page 51, from the bottom, the top of the page, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 lines from the top of the page, Nick, why don't you read it out? Page 51. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14 lines from the top. Truly.
Truly, what is here preached is not simply a means of making one's way in the world, but
A peculiar ethic.
the infraction of his rule is treated not as foolishness, but as forgetfulness of duty.
Forgetfulness of duty.
That is the essence of the matter. It is not mere business as useless that sort of thing is common enough. It is the business. This is the quality which is
Right. So this spirit of capitalism is a, what would Durkheim call it? A moral fact or moral rule. Yes, it is an obligation, a duty. It's not just a way of life. It is an ethical obligation, the spirit of capitalism, that one should in fact save. One should calculate. One should be honest. One should recognize. One shouldn't be frivolous. One shouldn't waste time. Time is money. Yeah, this is the spirit of capitalism. It almost is a sort of methodical control of an individual's life. So what is he comparing this to? Well, he's comparing it to economic behavior that is not this methodical regulation of one's life, but to what he calls the acquisitive instinct, the pursuit of money to satisfy material needs. So he says on page 53, under footnote 9, halfway down the page, he says, yes, into the first new paragraph, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 lines into it. He said, man is dominated by the making of money, by acquisition as the ultimate purpose of his life. Economic acquisition is no longer subordinated. Now this is still talking about spirit of capitalism. Is no longer subordinated to man as the means for the satisfaction of material needs. Economic acquisition is no longer subordinated to man as the means for the satisfaction of his material needs. This reversal of what we should call the natural relationship, so irrational from a naive point of view, is evidently as definitively a leading principle of capitalism as it is foreign to all peoples not under capitalist influence. That for all peoples not under the influence of this modern Western capitalism, we pursue money in order to acquire things. We pursue acquisitiveness. We are acquisitive people. But the point is that the spirit of capitalism is to be contrasted with acquisitiveness. So we have the spirit of capitalism as opposed to the acquisitive instincts, in which the point is to consume. Acquisitive instinct, to acquire more and more things. And the second contrast is what? Is behavior that is not in the pursuit of consumption, but in the pursuit, well, it's not pursuit of anything, it's what he calls traditionalism. What is traditionalist economic behavior? What is traditionalist economic behavior? What would you think, Aaron?
It's where a person is fine with just their traditional means of business. You give them more money per hour, they won't necessarily work.
Fewer hours. That's right. That's right. So what the point of this argument here is that the spirit of capitalism leads people to pursue more and more money for money's sake, to increasingly invent new ways of making money, of accumulating more and more, whereas the traditionalist is happy with the way things are. So if you pay somebody more, as Aaron says, if you give them a higher wage, they will work fewer hours. They have a traditionalist expectation, a customary expectation of how much they need to live. Yes, and he has all sorts of interesting things to say about that. Did anybody pick up on that? 60, very good, Jamie Lou. Yes, 60. Very good. On page 60, for example, very good. 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines down. 8 lines down. Sam, why don't you read it out? You don't have your reader. Now, what would Benjamin Franklin think about that? You're a gangster? Uh-huh. Time is money. Don't dawdle. You should be methodically controlling your life, Sam. How can you not bring the reader? What sort of spirit inspires you? Oh, yes. See, that's the Catholic response. I'm sorry. We'll see what the Protestant response is. Okay, yes. Right, you ready? Page 60, 2, 4, 6, 8 lines down. A man.
A man does not, by nature, wish to earn more and more money, but simply to live as he is accustomed to live, and to earn as much as is necessary for that purpose. Wherever modern capitalism has begun, its work of increasing the productivity of human labor by increasing its intensity, it has encountered the immensely stubborn resistance of the sweeping tree of pre-capitalistic labor. And today, it encounters it more. The more backward, from a capitalistic point of view, the labor forces are with which it has to deal.
So there are all these laborers who are not imbued with the spirit of capitalism, who really just want to have things the way they always were. And he particularly criticizes who? Does anybody pick up on that, who he criticizes? Yes, Marianne? Women! Where do you find women?